New Zealand. Oh, there's big rivalry between Australia and New Zealand. So you couldn't have offended me more.
How did you become an expert on LinkedIn? Give us a kind of a background of the usage of LinkedIn in New Zealand.
Well, LinkedIn has 2.6 million members in New Zealand.
I was a primary two when I lost my father. I've never really had the chance to see him or to talk to him, but to want to return from school and ask him, Father, can you explain this to me? If you are waiting for somebody to validate you, that means that can also invalidate you.
I think that knowing what your objectives are on LinkedIn is really important.
People need to believe that it is possible for them. If you believe that you can do it, you are right. If you believe that you cannot do it, you are also right. So that when somebody say, oh, AI has gone, it's going to take a... No, AI have made the world easier for you to create more. Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us today. This is Obehi podcast. I am Obehi Ewan for of this podcast. We believe so much in the power of storytelling. What we represent, this is, and we advise, or actually we encourage businesses wherever you are to own your story and to leverage it in whatever you are doing, especially if you are in the business of dealing with other human beings. If they are what you are targeting, then the power of storytelling is going to be sense. So much of what we do is LinkedIn. We are nearly 30,000 followers now, which is to say that much of our followers are actually on LinkedIn. So today we are going to be talking about LinkedIn strategy from a LinkedIn authority or a LinkedIn expert in the area. Why we do this is because we want to allow you the chance or give you the opportunity of learning of a strategy to operate in 2025 so you can get results. Because the reason for being here, for putting yourself out there, because you want to get results. It's not because you just want to do something. So there are certain ways to get results. And that is what we are going to be talking about today. So Johnston, thank you so much for being here. I want to really thank you. It's an honor for joining me in Obehi podcast. Could you tell me a little bit about yourself? That is where we start from.
Thank you. It's lovely to be here. And my name's Lynnaire Johnston. I'm a Kiwi. So kia ora from New Zealand. I'm an international or global LinkedIn authority, author and educator. And I love helping people to leverage the power of LinkedIn to achieve their professional goals. LinkedIn's a huge beast these days. It's way more than just social media. It's a business tool for professionals, and I well understand how difficult it can be to use because it changes so much all the time. And so what I aim to do is to help people to really understand it and make it work for them.
All right, that's interesting. My first curiosity, Lynnaire, how did you become an expert on LinkedIn? Because I want to pretend to understand that it didn't start like that from the beginning. You help me understand.
Well, I've been a professional writer all my adult life. I began life working in radio broadcasting. And when I had my copywriting business earlier on this century, I discovered LinkedIn had introduced a short form posting platform. Right up until then, all you could do was write articles, but then it allowed us to write short form posts, which just played into my hands so beautifully because I like to write, but I was always writing for other people and not myself. So I started writing about writing, which is what I knew, and started to learn about how to really utilize LinkedIn well. And all of a sudden, after doing that for a while, I woke woke up one day, literally, and discovered that I'd been placed on a list of top LinkedIn experts for Australia and New Zealand. So from there, I decided the best thing I needed to do was to write a book. And that was just before COVID. So I had all the time in the world to write my first book, Linkability. And from there, I have simply grown and grown in terms of my visibility on LinkedIn. And you know what? I absolutely love it still. Even today, I just think it's the best platform for businesses.
That's lovely. That's lovely. We'll have time to touch on some of those things that you made mention of just now. So you are in Australia, right?
New
You're in Australia
Zealand.
now or New
New
Zealand?
Zealand. Oh, there's big rivalry between Australia and New Zealand. So you
Okay.
couldn't have offended me more.
All right. Tell me about that rivalry. What is rivalry there? Because tell me a bit about that. We're curious.
Sure. Well, New Zealand and Australia are very close together. We are each are our closest neighbours. And New Zealand is very tiny and Australia is absolutely huge. And so it's really interesting how it works because we are rivals in so many ways. For example, there's a very well-known dessert called a pavlova. Now, we here in New Zealand believe that we Kiwis invented it. Well, the Australians believe they invented it too. And so that's the kind of rivalry there has been for a long time. But what's really interesting about it is that when it's us against them, it's really us against them. But when it's one of us against the rest of the world, say in rugby or cricket, for example, then it's Australia and New Zealand against the rest of the world. So we come together in that kind of a sense. But yes, you've got to be very careful between New Zealanders and Australians because we can get a bit edgy about that.
That is really truly interesting. In West Africa, there is a plate that is very popular. It's called fried rice. Okay, also maybe jollof rice too. This create a lot of rivalry between Nigeria, which is where I'm coming from, and also our neighbor Ghana. So there is a big debate on the internet, particularly within the African diaspora community. But of course, that is coming from West Africa now. In that some people are saying, which country cook the best jollof rice or the best fried rice in Africa? The Ghanaians say they are the best. The Nigerians say they are the best. There is this competition going on. But okay, it doesn't really take us much anywhere because we both love ourselves, no? There is, of course, another area that we have a rivalry between Ghana and Nigeria, but we are still the best of friends, no? In West Africa. If you are not very close to Nigeria and Ghana, you might think that we are a log ahead, but we are not. We love ourselves, but we also sometimes log ahead depending on where you are looking at it. But my curiosity there just now is when you take that argument to maybe in a business setting, how much does that, what relevance does that make? Does it mean that you are not able to work among yourself? Or is it impossible for you to collaborate, to work among each other? Because now you are on LinkedIn, for example. LinkedIn is not about New Zealand or Australia or America or Europe. It's a global community. In a situation like this, what relevance does that rivalry mean? Or what kind of relevance is that in a situation like this?
Well, really, it's kind of ignored. And let me give you an example of that. My second book, which I co-authored with a lady from Sydney, Australia, is a prime example of Kiwi and Aussie collaboration. And it worked like this. I heard her talking on a podcast about LinkedIn company pages. And I wanted to write another book after I'd written Linkability. And I wanted to make it about company pages, but I didn't have the knowledge about company pages. So we got on a Zoom call together. We'd never spoken. And 15 minutes in, I said to her, would you like to write a book with me? And she said, yes. And so there we've got a book. So you can see that sitting above my shoulder, the top one, the blue one, Business Gold. And it's been out for 2 or 3 years, and we're just about to start a third edition of it. It's the world's only book about LinkedIn company pages. So that's a really good example of Kiwi Aussie collaboration.
That's really lovely to hear. All right. You see, I think that in business, we should be able to collaborate. There is an organization that I'm running. It's a non-profit organization called We Diaspora. It's about connecting the people of African diaspora to their roots, which is Africa, but also among themselves. And sometimes it goes beyond that, that we want to work with people who might not necessarily be Africa or in Africa, but who want to maybe penetrate the African market or things like that, or vice versa. So all across the organization is collaboration. That we believe that the best way for us to live today in the world is to work with each other and to work alongside each other, to collaborate. Because what you have and what I have are different. But I can benefit from what you have, and you can also benefit from what I have. Therefore, we need to collaborate. And I think this is something that really should be important also within the area, and most importantly, within the area of business. For business leaders who are working with different people, they must understand that people are different. But differences is not equal to negativity or defects. Differences are actually beauty. And I've made reference to this before. I know this is not an argument about the collaboration, but it is important. Since you make mention of that, making mention of Australia and New Zealand, then I also make mention of Nigeria and Ghana. There was a book I wrote in 2016, 2015, 2016. I titled the book, The Color of Our Children. The book have to do with discrimination in Italian school, because that is actually where I was coming from, doing a research about the presence of Africans in northern Italy. So at the point, I just decided to sort of put what this information I was gathering into a book. So making a particular case in this book, I was talking about what a multicultural society could mean. And I was saying something to the effect that it could be like a piece of art. And I said a piece of art needs to be seen from the point of view of contamination. And I say I am using contamination carefully, in the sense that I am conscious of the word that I'm using. I say contamination in the sense that one is contrasting the other. That is how we are able to see the beauty in it. And I say a piece of art, you can see it as a graphic that you put on your wall. You can also see like a movie that you go to the cinema to see. And you can also see like a music that you listen to. They are all the same. It needs to contrast so that it can make sense. Because otherwise, if you take a blue pen and write on a blue piece of paper, you will never be able to read it, because there is no contradiction. There is no contrast in it. Which is to say that being different is nothing bad in it. It's beautiful. Because that is actually how we are able to see who we are. So I think for the fact that we are different, it should not scare anybody. It's a good thing. And with it, particularly in the area of business, in the global world that we have it today, because now we have over 5 billion people on the internet, you cannot go to hide somewhere. You need to come out and work with other people. You don't need to agree with them all the time, but you still need to come out and work with them. I don't know if you have any thought on that before we go to what I wanted to share with you today.
I have a lot of thoughts on that, but let me try and keep them brief for you. I absolutely agree that working with people collaboratively who are different from you is absolutely the best way to work. Otherwise, you don't learn anything. You just stay in your own lane, in your own rut, and you don't actually move forward. Now, one of the things I love about LinkedIn is here I am in New Zealand, and I'm not sure where you are right now, but it's a long way away from me. But the virtual technology means that we can talk to each other and have this conversation conversation, which will then go out globally to many more people. Now, I just love the fact that it brings people together like that. So yes, we come from different backgrounds, different countries and different cultures, but here we are having a conversation. And whether that's about differences, collaboration, or being very similar, it really doesn't matter, because here we are talking with each other from other parts of the world. And I just think there is huge, huge value in that. You know, New Zealand is such an isolated country. You know, we're at the bottom of the world, next stop Antarctica. So to be able to reach out to people anywhere in the world is, for me, a gift. And I absolutely love it. And I'm so delighted that it's possible for us to do that now.
Absolutely, absolutely. The reality of the day make it possible for us. All right,
Yes.
now tell me a bit about, give us a kind of a background of the usage of LinkedIn in New Zealand. Tell us, like, how much is it actually used, and yeah, give us a kind of data that you know about New Zealand in terms of how they use LinkedIn.
Sure. Well, LinkedIn has 2.6 million members in New Zealand, and that's out of a population of just over 5 million. I did say that we were tiny. There's not many of us. And so to have that many people on LinkedIn is, I think, quite miraculous. But it is fair to say that many people in New Zealand don't really understand the value of LinkedIn and how to make it work for them really well. That's where I come in, of course. But I find that in New Zealand, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And because we're a small nation, business comes by referral often. But having said that, we still come together online, because everybody's online. If you just pointed out, you can't hide these days. And so where people, I think, really use LinkedIn well is to be able to have it to back up the people that they know in person. You can't meet and get to know everybody, but you can meet a lot more people on LinkedIn and build those relationships. So as an example of that, I live quite a long way down the country. New Zealand is long and thin. It's made up of 2 islands in the middle of nowhere, and about 3,000 kilometres from anywhere. And so I'm at the lower part of the lower island, right in the South Island. Now, the major city in New Zealand is called Auckland, and it's right at the top of the North Island, almost as far away as you could get. But I do a lot of business with people who are in Auckland, again, thanks to technology, and other parts of the world too. And people don't mind that nowadays. You know, if you go back pre-COVID, people still wanted to meet in person. It was pretty much mandatory. But now people are really happy to get on calls and to have a meeting online. And that means that LinkedIn is one of those platforms that dovetails into that, because you can have meetings on LinkedIn or through the messaging on LinkedIn. You can send people videos on LinkedIn through your messaging, which is a great way to stand out. So I think that LinkedIn is a great extension of the New Zealand culture, where we do business with people we know, like, and trust. We don't do as much business on LinkedIn as other countries do, and that's because we're a long way away, and so we don't tend to follow the trends, or a little behind some of the trends, I think would be fair to say.
All right, all right. Now, I want also to touch a little bit about the tips and strategy. You see, in the beginning, I was saying that we need to learn that, because that is some of the things that we actually need to learn from people who have been there for a much longer time. Now, let's look at somebody in New Zealand. Or let's say, okay, somebody is looking at us now from anywhere, because like you said, we have broken the borders now. The internet has broken the borders. It doesn't matter whether you are in a village in Africa or in the metropolitan city somewhere in the world. As long as you're able to connect to the grid, which is internet, anybody can see you and you can see anybody. So the question therefore would be, what are some of the tips that you would recommend for somebody who is just coming to LinkedIn for the first time? What are some of the things that this individual must do?
Okay, the very first thing that you need to do is to set up a really good profile. everything that you do on LinkedIn comes back to your profile. If you post content, people will look at your profile. If you message them, they will look at your profile. If you comment on their posts, they will look at your profile. So you need to have a profile that stands out, that is compelling, is eye-catching, has lots of visuals on it, and video. I'm a very big believer in video on LinkedIn. And you need to be able to tell people your story. People need to be able to look at your profile and know exactly what you do just at a glance. Now, as I said earlier, I'm a professional writer, so I love to read, but a lot of people don't these days. They just want to be able to glance at something and know about somebody, or to watch a quick video. So one of my tips as far as the LinkedIn profile is concerned is to include a short video. Now, it wasn't so long ago that LinkedIn allowed you to have a video sitting in behind your profile photo, but that's no longer there anymore. So what we need to do instead is add a short video to our featured section. Now, the featured section is one of those that you have to add manually. When you first look at LinkedIn and look at your new profile there, you won't be able to see it. So you have to add it as one of the additional sections. You know, there's a lot to LinkedIn profiles these days. When I think back on how they were when I first started, there was very little on them. But now you can have projects, and you can have skills and reviews, all kinds of really interesting things that help people better understand who you are and what you do. So one of my main tips that most people don't do, but is really ideal, I think, to help people get to know each other, and it's great for storytelling, is to be able to have a short video that tells people who you are and what you do. And the way that you come across on that video is going to tell people a lot about you. So make it warm and friendly with lots of big smiles, and people will really think that you are a great person to do business with. You'll build your trust and credibility that way. So video, there we are. There's my first tip for you.
All right, video. By the time you create this video, where do you let this video sit? In the sense that this video is not going to be missing in among other posts that you're going to make on LinkedIn, because now you are starting, you put the video there. Is this video still going to be available for somebody to see maybe 2 or 3 years along the line, something like that? Of course, this is something that you, in many other social media, you easily can just forget about it because it's going to go away. But if you keep on posting, of course, then they begin to show up. Then, of course, it's just like you put it on the water, then it's slowly sick, it's gone. Of course, this is something that doesn't happen on some other platform. So I wanted you to say something, because, okay, that would be in comparison to YouTube. If you put a video there, like the day YouTube started, today you can still go there, the video is still there for you, which is still working for you. But in many other social media, you put a video, the video go down, it go down to the bottom. Nobody ever see that video again. But of course, if you are a genius, you go and search for it. But nobody is a genius in most cases, no? So help me on that.
And I agree with you, and posts do come and go. I quite agree, in the sense that they don't necessarily hang around terribly much, but we all have what's called an activity section on our profile, and all your videos that you've posted will sit in your activity section. So if you posted a lot of videos, then it's going to take a bit to get back to the earlier ones for sure, but they can easily be found there. Now, this didn't used to be the case because it was more common for them just to disappear and you had no way of finding them again, but now we do. And so I think that that is a very useful thing to be able to look at on someone's profile, to look at their videos. If your video is your main way that you really like to consume content, is to look at people's videos. And you know, in the last couple of years, LinkedIn has really gone all in on video. It's added a whole bunch of new features. It's made looking at videos easier. It's made putting up videos easier. And it has really come down hard on telling us about the kind of videos that it wants to see. And so it's videos in portrait mode, that's the long and thin ones, and also only short, 1 to 2 3 minutes is the preferred length of a video on LinkedIn. And so if you are posting videos, then those are the ones to make sure that you have. And yes, just remember that they do tend to sit there on your profile. They don't disappear like they used to. So yeah, they're there for, unless you take them down, they are going to be there in perpetuity.
All right.
For better or worse.
From the point of view of storytelling, this Obehi podcast, of course, anyway, for those of you that are listening, if you are not yet subscribed to this podcast, I encourage you to please do so. It doesn't cost you any money. It just means that you like what you are seeing and you want to see more of it. So click on the like button and share also to other people that you think might also be interested, because that is essentially what we are doing here, making sure that we are passing on the message so that it can reach you, so that you can benefit from it. So do all this favor by subscribing and sharing this information to other people who might also like it. So what I was just saying there is that we believe in the power of our story, not just because we talk about it once in a while, but on a continuity, on a repeated basis, that every day, every time, all the time, we talk about our story. And we also move a step beyond that, is that we also document the story. And by the time we document it now, it remains there, so that somebody can come around, maybe 200 years from now, the story will still be there, because we have been intentional about it. But if we have never been intentional about it, if we didn't organize the story, then nobody can find us. Okay, maybe in the moment when we are there, we say something, okay, the other person might hear us. But what if we think about 500 years from now? What is going to happen then? If you want to do that, then you need to have a plan. You need to have a strategy. You need to have a way of organizing the story, so that you still speak to people who will never know you, who will never see you. But thanks to the technology, they will hear you. They will be able to see the way you actually look and able to understand the kind of idea that you have. Okay, that might sound very philosophical to some persons, but I want to make it very clear. If you take off a book like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, the first question you ask yourself is, who is Napoleon Hill? Have you ever met him? Of course, you couldn't possibly meet him. There is another book titled The Science of Getting Rich by Walter Wallace, written in 1910. Who was available in 1910? None of us. You see, but you can take out that book and still enjoy it, because somebody have sat down and put down their thoughts. But guess what? There were many people that were living at that time. Nobody remembered it anymore, because we don't have any way of connecting to their consciousness, because they didn't leave anything behind, at least in the way that we can connect to them. Of course, they probably were good husband, good wife, good neighbor, good workers, and all of that. But just being good around is not enough. We need to be intentional in telling our story, documenting it, and preserving it, so that those who are going to come after you can have a way of connecting to your consciousness. What if we could do that also in the area of business?
Wow, that's amazing. And I love that idea of being able to have your legacy maybe carry on after you, because we learn a lot during our lives, and for that knowledge to suddenly disappear has always seemed to me to be a terrible shame. And no matter what you believe about what happens after we pass on, we've lost that information to the people that we have loved, the people we've worked with, or the people that have been following us on LinkedIn or on YouTube. And I agree with you that finding a way to document that is a really good thing. Have you got any ideas about how that might be done in this age of AI, when it's all suddenly becoming a whole lot easier to do things like that?
Well, actually, that is what we do in A-Classes Media. We help people to translate their story into assets so that they can use it in business, but of course, they can also preserve it. It's entirely the core service that we do in A-Classes Media. So if somebody were interested in that, or if you are interested, of course, we can talk about that later in the conversation, because we don't just want to be missing. All right, now, there is a kind of a personal attachment to that approach to me. Okay, I was in primary 2 when I lost my father. I've never really had the chance to see him or to talk to him or to want to return from school and ask him, Father, can you explain this to me? That'll be really impactful to me in a very bad way, or in a very, you can call it negative way, because I felt that lost for not being able to call somebody my father. Okay, now, you see, in this podcast, I've done more than 1,000 episodes. I've
Wow,
talked
that's
to a
amazing.
lot of people from different parts of the world.
Right.
Is for this reason. I want to make sure that those individuals that I've talked to, their memory is there. So that somebody can maybe stumble on it one day, they can get a value. You know why? Because I would be very happy if I could stumble on a picture of my father, a video recording of my father talking. I'm not even interested in how intelligent he was. I'm not interested in how eloquent he was. I just want to see him talk. So I can say, oh, that is my father. I want to see him in this way. But I can't find anything about that.
But technology has now moved on so much that we can do that for, in your case, your children, in my case, my grandchildren. And so we can make those stories available to them when we're not still here anymore. And I just think that the way that technology has changed so dramatically, so quickly, has just been it's just been eye-opening. It's scary, it's fascinating, it's brilliant, and I absolutely love it. You know, when I was growing up, there wasn't even color television. And so things have changed dramatically in my life. I learned to type on a manual typewriter. Now, you show me any young person today who even knows what a manual typewriter looks like, I'd be very surprised. And so now we have got so much technology at our fingertips. Yes, with AI, yes, with online videos, yes, with the way we're able to create videos and put them on social media, LinkedIn and other platforms. And it really does, as you say, help us to be able to build a record of our thoughts and our ideas that can be accessed in the future. I think that's such a valid point that most people really never think about.
Absolutely. That is why I'm really very passionate about this. You know, there is an aspect that we usually sort of concentrate on a lot. We didn't do that today for you because of maybe time constraint, which usually we would do by going down to your kind of a memory lane, asking you what you were doing as a child, what do you remember, and all of that. That is the standard in Obehi podcast, and we do that so that people can have a way of connecting. That is really very important. You see, if you look around today in the world, we have over, if you take a statistics, for example, you say, how many people have existed on Earth? Statistics show that over 100 billion people have existed on Earth till this moment.
Yeah.
That is what statistics is saying. But even beyond that, we can look at how many people are living on Earth today. That is over 8 billion people. If that is true, how many people have a YouTube account? I mean, how many people are intentionally telling their story? I mean, how many people are intentionally writing a book about their experiences? All of us have had experience. There is nobody of the 8 billion people on earth today that don't have experience, that don't have a point of view. But many people are just there, just following other people. It's not true that if the 8 billion people in the world today are creating, there will be oversaturation. It is not true. What it simply would mean is that we will have more information. Information changed the world. Having access to the same to a lot of information. It is okay. I'm talking of also quality information. So I'm encouraging people to tell their story. I'm telling them that your story is important. Let the world know that you have been here. I say this quite often. Of the over 100 billion people that have existed, none of us is a copy of another person. Each of us have been unique in every way. Every way we have been unique. Your name, your father, your mother, the line, your DNA, your compost, apart from the generic way where all of us are connected, but your identity as a human being, your manifestation in this world is the best specimen that the entire universe can produce. So it would be a shame, like you said, for you not saying something about this in a way that some other persons 100 years from now can take a copy of and examine.
I just love that whole idea. And you know where I think that there's a barrier to this in terms of people doing that is the fact that, and you've already touched on this, is that people don't think that they've got something that's worth saying. And the reason I think that that's the case for most people is because they have been told that. They have been told that all their lives to shut up, sit down, be quiet, and wait for someone else to tell them what to do, what to say, and what to think. But I believe that we all should have a voice, and that we are all valid. Our thoughts are valid, our opinions are valid. They are based on our culture, our experiences, and what we have learned over our lives. And as you say, each of us has unique knowledge that should be saved in some kind of way. You've been talking about it in terms of storytelling, and I can see why that would have appeal, because everybody loves a good story, and it's a great way to remember ideas. But I also think that sharing knowledge is important too, and that's what I do. Is I don't talk much about myself personally, except about my garden. I'm always talking about my garden, so don't start me about my garden, or else you'll hear me talking about my garden. But what I really think is that knowledge is something that is so important. And I've been doing a lot of study of AI this year. I was a bit of a late adopter, but I finally got there and decided I need to learn about it. And so I've been working with it quite a lot. And what I have found is that what it is telling me in a lot of cases is simply not true, or it's bad information, or it's out of date information. And that is particularly the case with LinkedIn. So I think it's even more important that people who have knowledge in particular areas should be able to make it available to people, and also potentially to AI, so that it learns better and other people learn the right way, not the wrong way. You've already mentioned this about having quality information. And I think that that's really important on LinkedIn. When we're posting, we need to put out there really good quality information along with our stories that people need to know, and makes the world a better place. Because I think that if we can all leave this planet, the world being a better place than when we arrived, then we've done a pretty good job.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, I'm not going to go the route of AI, even though that is an important conversation, in the sense that a lot of people have a wrong impression of AI, thinking that is everything other than a tool, because AI is a tool that we need to use. AI is not another version of humanity. AI is a tool, and we have been using tools before the pyramid were built. Tools are made for us to be able to become better than what we are doing. It doesn't mean we have alternative to who we are. No, it is not true. Because the way we come into existence, AI is not even near that at all. It's not even near that at all. We are too complicated as entity. But does it mean AI? No, AI is very effective in what it's designed to do, but it is designed to do, which is, what do we want to do with it? That the question is ours. Anyway, I'd like to ask you something.
Okay.
Tell me about consistency in being able to get results on LinkedIn.
There's two things several things really that make LinkedIn a success for you. One of them is consistency. So that's turning up on the platform on a regular basis. So that is taking some kinds of action. Most days, most business days anyway, that might be reaching out to message people. It could be commenting on posts, putting up your own posts, or inviting people to connect with you. Doing something on a regular basis on LinkedIn is important, not only because because you will then grow your own presence, but because LinkedIn will reward you for doing that, for taking those kinds of action. So consistency is a major key. But for me, LinkedIn is all about relationships. So it is, we've touched on this again too, is about building relationships with people I would never normally meet in the course of my day living here in New Zealand. And so consequently, I can meet people all over the world and build relationships with them. I've got friends all over the world who I would never have had a chance to meet if it hadn't been for LinkedIn. And so you can build those really good business relationships that can turn into collaboration, which we've already talked about, and they can even turn into friendships as well. And I was talking today to a LinkedIn friend who is also a LinkedIn authority who is in New York State. Now he's coming to New Zealand at the end of this year, and we're going to meet up in person. Now that simply wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for LinkedIn, because we wouldn't have even known about each other. But he and I are both gardeners, and he and his wife are coming to New Zealand, and so I'm going to go and spend some time with them, spend a day with them, and get to know them in person, because it's all very well getting to know somebody online, but there's nothing quite like meeting somebody in person. So consistency and building relationships with people are two big things on LinkedIn. But where I think a lot of people go wrong is expecting miracles overnight. LinkedIn's a long game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so you need to be here consistently for some time. Now, that's not just days, that's not just weeks, it can be months and years. And you'll find that people will come to you that might have been following you on LinkedIn that you've never heard about, didn't even know, and say to you, I've been following you for 3 years and now I want to do some work with you. And that simply wouldn't happen if you weren't showing up consistently. And so I think consistency in posting, consistency in commenting on other people's posts, and consistency in building those relationships is key to success on LinkedIn.
All right. Success on LinkedIn and consistency. Now, I would like you to talk to us about the mindset around that, in being able to remain consistent, because that is about the hardest work that is there. In that, if you are a worker at somebody's company, they say, okay, dedicate like 30 days working, I give you the money at the end of the day, which is a salary. You see the money, then okay, that is very fine. But now we're talking of you putting your time, your resources all the time, putting it there, investing it, and so that you don't get any result, maybe after 1 year. And you are telling this individual to continue to do it. That is kind of hard sometimes. That is where the result can be guaranteed. Okay, so that somebody also understand that this is not just philosophy. I want somebody to imagine a hen that is going to stay on the incubation of the egg for 3 weeks, which is 21 days. You see, the way life comes through the hen, which is the eggs, and the way life comes through mamas are not the same. In that when a woman is pregnant, even though the child hasn't come out yet, you can see the child moving in the body. If you do the ultrasound, or there are a lot of ways for a woman to know that the child is moving. No? You can even play with the child by touching maybe your stomach and things like that. But there are, in the case of hen, you don't really see it. The hen will remain there in the first week, in the second week. You haven't saw anything yet, but it will remain there constant. Sometimes it's raining. Sometimes the sun is very hot. She needs to be there, because if she's not there, those eggs will die. Now, until the last time that is required for the hen to be there to get result, she faithful all the time without seeing the result. Then eventually the result will come. And this is true again if we look at other part of our understanding. You go to plant yam or plant cassava or plant maize. You don't beat the ground and say, hey, give me back. No, you're not going to get anything. The seed first need to die and be part of the earth and then grow. And then you continue to nurture it, and eventually the fruit will come. So I want you to talk a little bit about that with us. Please go on.
Well, I often use my garden as a metaphor for LinkedIn, and I regularly record videos of myself in my garden talking about the garden and LinkedIn because there are a lot of similarities which may surprise some people. But you're right, it's all about growth and nurture, it's about patience, it's about making sure that you are looking after your LinkedIn profile and your LinkedIn brand and your presence online, and doing it the right way, because you're so right in that if people expect to have results immediately, it simply isn't going to happen. Now, you can't build trust with somebody when you first meet them. You have to do that over a period of time. We don't build friendships with people just the first time we meet them. We have to take time to get to know them, and to learn about them and what they like and how they relate to us and we relate to them, what we've got in common, all of those positive things. And that's where LinkedIn works really well too. So I'm always a fan of making sure that when you are meeting somebody on LinkedIn, that you do nurture that relationship. So as an example, if you've reached out to somebody to connect and they've said yes, or they've just connected and not said anything, then you need to follow up. You need to send a message that says, thanks so much for connecting. Some people will send a video. I often send a little video that says welcome. Some people will send a GIF or a GIF, depending on how you like to pronounce that. Some people just send a text message or even a voice note. But it's reaching out to people and establishing that relationship. You might do that by asking questions, or about talking about the synergies between what you do and what they do, or ask them about their work or something that that they've learned this week that they might want to share. And I think that by doing that, we do establish that trust with people, because we're in an age of AI, and authenticity is really important. And so you need to be professional, yes, but you also need to be yourself rather than try to be somebody that you're not. Because when somebody does get on a call with you, or they meet you in person, if you're lucky enough to do that, then you want them to be able to go, oh, they're exactly the same in person as they are on LinkedIn. If you like them on LinkedIn, you want to be able to like them in person. And so I think that it's very important to keep in mind that whole authenticity idea on LinkedIn right now, particularly as we move more and more towards the use of AI. So yeah, I think that's a very interesting question, and one that people need to think about for themselves, about how they want to show up and how they want to be seen on LinkedIn.
All right. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Of course, the conversation, we could hold it forever, and there are a lot of value that are coming from here, from what you're sharing. Anyway, again, I talk to you that are listening to us. Perhaps you have a question to ask, or maybe there is a point of view. You see, I want to go back again. That you have a point of view. You need to understand that your point of view is valid. Nobody's coming to validate it for you. Okay, this is why. This is why. If you are waiting for somebody to validate you, that individual can also invalidate you. I am saying that if you think your point of view needs somebody to come and say you are qualified, that person also have the right to say you are not qualified. Instead, note that you are qualified. You don't need anybody. Therefore, what is your point of view about what we are sharing here? Do you have any question to ask, maybe to further understand more what we are saying here? Please share with us in the comment section. It doesn't cost anything. It takes maybe a few seconds to just say, okay, yes, I like this. I would like to learn more about this. You see, um, people spend years to be able to understand this information that they are sharing with you. That is what Lynnaire Johnston is sharing here today, because she spent years understanding this. So if you want to understand it, you can go to spend all these years, or you can simply ask her. Very simple, cheap. She will just share with you. That's it. So take action. Take action. Action is what moves things around. All right. Now, let me put it to you like this. What would you recommend for people that are coming in? I know I already asked questions related to that before, but I'm asking it in a different way. All right. In case somebody want to understand that more, because that is an approach that I usually have. I like repetition.
A good way to learn is repetition. I agree.
All right. Okay. I'm not going down there again. So, what would you recommend for people so that when they are getting new here, or maybe they've been here for a long time, they haven't gotten the result? So, recommend something for them on how to get result on LinkedIn.
Well, I think you have to look at, first of all, what it is that you think a result is. What is success for you? Is it a new job? Is it leads coming in to your business? Is it being seen as a thought leader in your community or your industry, or something else? And so we need, I think, on LinkedIn to know where we're trying to go, because it's a bit like a journey, isn't it? If you don't know your destination, you never know if you're going to get there, or when you've got there. So I think that knowing what your objectives are on LinkedIn is really important. But there are a few really simple metrics that you can use to see whether you are growing in visibility and you are building your network. So the first, of course, is your number of connections. The second is your number of followers, which is not the same. And you will probably have, like many of us, more followers than you have connections, and that's perfectly fine. The next thing is how many people have viewed your profile in the last 90 days. These numbers all sit in the analytics section of your profile, very easy to find. And the final metric that is a really useful one to monitor is your search appearances. How many times have you shown up in a search for the results that you want to be found for? Now, if you're finding that you're not improving in that area, it might be because your profile doesn't contain the keywords or the keyword phrases that the people that you want to connect with, or your audience, are searching for. And so it's really important, I think, for people to look at their profiles and see whether or not they are meeting the minimum basic requirements of a good profile in terms of their words, their keywords, in their about section, in their experience section, in their headline, and potentially even in their banner. Because if you can't be found on LinkedIn because you don't have a fully optimized profile, which is a fancy way of saying you've got the keywords in there that people are looking for, if you don't have that, people simply won't be able to find you. And that is really going to restrict your visibility. So the answer is really, once you've decided on who you're aiming at, the answer is just to look at your numbers. It all comes back to numbers a lot of the time, doesn't it? And so if you look at those and see whether they're improving, increasing over time, then that would be, by my definition, success on LinkedIn.
I wanted to say it like this, because in relation to the consistency that we were talking about before, sometimes it's not always visible what you are, the result that you are shooting for, but you know what you are shooting for. Okay, let me put it this way. Sometime in 2022, I set a goal for myself, but of course, I don't have the result yet. But I set a goal that I was going to publish 500 articles in a year, which is 12 months.
Oh.
But that is a lot of work. How do I do that? Of course, I'm not going to write all the articles myself. At that time now, we didn't even have the AI, no? Because now you can use AI in writing and all of that. Okay, in case somebody don't understand that yet, AI can help you in writing, because like I said before, AI is a tool. AI doesn't use you except you don't know what you're doing. You need to use AI. It's not like, for example, when somebody take a gun and shoot somebody, they say, should we blame it on the gun or the human being? Of course, you can't blame it on the gun. The gun don't kill people. It is people that kill people. If you take away the gun, a murderer will still murder human being. You see, in Cannae, central Italy, when the military general called Hannibal Barca, wanted to destroy Rome, he didn't have gun. There was no gun at the time. He slaughtered more than 70,000 Roman soldier in a small space that is the size of a football pitch. He didn't have any gun. just to tell you that it is not the tool that we need to blame, it is a human being. If you are a good person, if you have two, you will be better. If you are a bad person, if you have two, you will become even worse. So let's take away the two. Let's take about us. So in 2022, I set this goal, but of course I can't see it yet. But I keep on working on it. I pay people some money to help me in some of the writing. But of course, the goal is more important for me now. But I'm saying for somebody that is listening that I didn't see the result yet, but I'm working on it little by little. I write the first article, oh, I'm happy. I write the 10th one, I'm happy. I write the 5th one, I am happy. I write the first 100, I am happy. We are gradually moving towards it. Until I finally write the 500 article, they are sitting on the website.
Oh,
Do
wow.
you know what is really even funny about it? Is that I actually do more than I wanted to do because I set a goal for myself and I'm continuously working on it gradually. Now, there is another important thing to note there. At that time in 2022, when I go to watch the analytics on Google or Google Analytics, the result was very poor. The view was so low. The people that are clicking on the article were so low, but I'm not disturbed by that because I'm not looking for the vanity metrics. I know what I'm shooting for. I take the time. I am learning. I am improving every day. So in that time, I can confidently tell you that I think I was getting something like around 2 or 3 clicks in a month. But it's okay. I'm moving on. Today, in a website that we were getting, say maybe like about 100 impressions in 3 months, that is usually you will do to measure. Now we get more than 1 million impressions.
Wow.
It's just growing. We have more than 2,000 articles on the website.
Wow, that's astonishing. Well done, you.
So what I'm saying in essence is that people need to believe themselves. People need to believe that it is possible for them. Talking about believe again, talking about believing in yourself again, it actually depends on you. If you believe that you can do it, you are right. If you believe you cannot do it, you are also right. So I want you to reinforce this again for the audience because there are a lot of people there on the internet who are just thinking that, oh, I didn't get the results, so I'm going to quit. No. You are not going to quit. If you quit, that is when you become a failure. But just because you are shooting for it, didn't get it today, doesn't mean you are a failure. It means you haven't gotten it yet. It's okay.
Yeah.
Move on again. Please speak more on that, on people that are on LinkedIn.
Well, do you know, I agree with you, and I have a particular way of looking at it too. When something negative happens, I don't see it as something bad. I see it as an opportunity to learn more, to find out what went wrong and to improve, or generally as an opportunity to move forward. And, you know, we make a lot of mistakes in our lives, don't we, unfortunately? And so we have a lot of lessons to learn, sometimes more than once, so that if you don't do it right the first time, the world isn't going to end. Try again. And I think that's very true when it comes to things like video, where people have got a real barrier to doing it. And, you know, I'm not a young person, but if I can do it, frankly, anybody can do it. And they absolutely should, because as you earlier, we all have a unique view. We have opinions and ideas that the world needs to hear, and video is a really good way to do that. And you've mentioned articles, and I think that's fabulous, the number of articles you've got on your website, and you will be doing better and better because they've been there for a longer time and you're gaining SEO on those. But it happens on LinkedIn too, where you put up articles or newsletters which are very similar, and they are there for a long time. You know, we talked about posts coming and going earlier on very quickly, whereas articles articles stay there, they are a really good thing to have on your LinkedIn profile, particularly if you are positioning yourself as a thought leader or as an expert in your field, because the 3,000 characters that you get in a post is simply too short to be able to build your credibility. But in an article, you absolutely can. And I'm going to share with you a little secret I've got around articles, and it's this. And it's not just about articles. When I'm on a podcast like this or in a live event, I have my own live stream. When I do that, I make sure that I use AI to repurpose the content. I turn it into an article, I turn it into an infographic, I turn it into a document post, a slideshow, also called a carousel, and I'll also write a blog post about it on the back of it. And so that's 5 pieces of content, if I've got that right, 5 pieces of content, all from one podcast or live event. So you don't have to put so much effort into writing unique content every day, every second day, or as many articles as you're talking about, because you can repurpose the content that you have already created. And so my message is, once this podcast goes out, watch out for seeing this in an article on LinkedIn, because it's going to happen.
That is lovely. That is lovely. That is also about the work is smart in it, no?
And collaboration. It's all about collaboration too, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've done a lot of episodes where I've seen the guest taking the initiative for breaking it down and then reposting it. I am perfectly fine with that. So that is me. You are happy me, I'm happy you. Because here, okay, just now we are moving into a session where I will tell you, promote yourself. We need to do that. I don't believe in competition. I believe in collaboration. That is something that I learned reading the book by Walter Wallace. In the book, The Science of Getting Rich, Walter Wallace was saying, we need to collaborate. We don't need to compete. When you compete, it means you are from the mindset of limitation, that it is limited. The resources is limited. But how can you think of that? The universe is huge. We can't even measure it. It's impossible for us to measure what is possible for us. How can you just say, oh, this is all that it is? Amen. No, it is not true. It means right now, at this moment, this is all what we know. But we cannot base the entire existence on just now. We need to also leave a little room to say, okay, it is possible. That's why I was saying before that if the 8 billion people in the world were producing instead of consuming, we will find more solution. Because the solution comes by the time we look at my idea, look at your idea, look at his idea, look at her idea, we will find the solution easier. But if everybody just aggregate, we are consuming, just scrolling, we are just consuming. We are just only data. We are not adding something new to the data. And that will mean that only a few people will become rich. We will only solve few problems. But if everybody is saying, I am seeing like this, the other one see like this, the other one see like this, we are adding more information to help us solve the problem. Anyway.
I think not having a mindset of scarcity is really important, and that feeds into exactly what you're saying, is that if we all try to keep information to ourselves then and don't share it, then the world's not going to become a better place. We're not going to be able to find the solutions to the problems that plague us on a big, huge scale. And so we all, I think, have a duty to be sharing ideas, because it's not just the ideas, sharing the actual ideas, it's what people do with them, it's how they then process them and what comes out of their minds as a result of those ideas having been shared. And it happens to me all the time. People will say something and I'll go, oh yeah, that's interesting, and then my mind will start thinking about it and processing it, and all of a sudden I'll get this insight that I can use, or a new idea that will come on the back of that, not from the actual idea but from the fact that they have shared an idea that my brain has then processed and decided could do something else with. And so I think that having a scarcity mindset is the wrong way to look at things, trying to hold things to ourselves. As you said, there is room for everybody and there's no need to compete. Collaborating is by far the best way to do it. And LinkedIn is just the absolute best place for that. I'm a bit of a fan. You've probably figured this out by now. I'm a bit of a fan of LinkedIn.
That is so true. That is so true. I don't remember. I think this was Napoleon Hill that was saying it. I don't know whether it was Napoleon Hill or Walter Wallace in the book, that any idea that you have is built up on another idea, which is to say, again, now share. Because by the time you share, you help somebody else to move faster. Because now we don't need to reinvent the law of electricity because it's already there. So the next person that is going to take humanity to a quantum leap doesn't need to start now to calculate electricity because it's already calculated. All you just need to do is to add all the known information together, then tweak it a little bit, then you get something new. Because if you need to go back again to start doing the same calculation that was done before electricity was invented, we are going back. We need to go forward because there is a lot to explore. There is a lot that we can do. Elon Musk is talking about going to the Mars. We can talk about how do we explore the sun? Do we think that this universe is just here now? We need to imagine what we could do moving beyond that. If we look at it like from that perspective, then we can see that we are barely even starting. So that when somebody say, oh, AI has come, it's going to take it. No, AI has made the world, it make it easier for you to create more. We were supposed to create. Because I don't know, whatever you believe in the creationist history, for the creationist idea, for example, that God created everything. Okay, now it means God created everything. God therefore is a creator. And you are a child of God, you should be a creator too. Anyway, that's where we'll end the conversation today. What is your final thought to conclude what we are talking about here?
Well, I would like people to go away with an understanding that LinkedIn is all about possibilities. It's all about opportunities, and it's all about building relationships with people that you don't yet know, but who may become an influence in your life in some way. And I use the word in the original sense and not as an influencer. That's not what I mean. I mean that people who can help you, you can help them, and generally make the world a better place, because I really believe that giving and sharing of ideas and of our time and of our goodwill is very important, and we should all be doing that to the best of our abilities and to the best of our resources. And so I'd just like to say thank you for the opportunity to talk with your audience. This has been a fascinating conversation, so thank you.
Before you go, you need to tell the people how they can find you. That is very important. Please go ahead and add that.
Well, it may surprise you to know that I can be found on LinkedIn. And if you just search for me under my name, there I will pop up. One of the blessings of having an unusual name, a bit like yours. So there aren't too many of us. But I would really love for people to reach out and to let me know that they have listened to this podcast episode and just to let me know what they liked about it, what they got out of it, because I think that this is the kind of door that can, this is the kind of opportunity that opens doors. And so I'm as keen to hear from people who have been involved or listened or watched this podcast as I am anybody else who wants to contact me on LinkedIn. So please reach out.
Absolutely. We need to reach out. We need to reach out to the rest because we are not alone in this universe. We're not supposed to be alone here in this world. We're not supposed to live our life just all by ourselves. Let's reach out and let's connect to the rest. So thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure here talking with you. Thank you very much.